Welcome back to the Library of Ruina, where I, as a librarian, am tasked with ensuring that our guests enjoy their stay. On the shelf. Last I updated you guys, I had nixed the Undertale gang and put them on my shelves in a rather evil way. Done intentionally. Well, I'm still actively in denial about that fallout. I'm also dealing with the fallout of that event while accepting my fate on the warp train. So let me explain that part. After I took out San and friends, Isidoro retreated back to the Zwei to fetch Walter, a much more seasoned fighter for the Zwei. Though we'll find out later that the bar is rather low. Isidoro briefs Walter on how the library works and the fact that she lost all of her teammates. Isidoro is also convinced that we have something to do with the distortions happening around the city, but again, we know near nothing about them, we just know that they're happening, and what it looks like when they happen. We barely know how egos are made, and also the only singularity that knew how to harvest them is, gone. Play Lobotomy Corporation. As you can figure, Issa is pretty gung-ho on this. However, she's met with an ironically cold response to her request for manpower. Issa's cold shoulders last time shatter in comparison to the rulebook eating she gets from Walter at the mere idea that she should care about her dead friends. Where did this party invite come from? Issa? Sir, I'm fast, but I can't teleport. And you've been staring at me this whole time. Risk level. Urban legending getting scarier. Book of Distortions, huh? I never said anything about books yet. People of the jury, they've been baited. I'd go over each fight in this spat, but TBH, we gotten to the point that we can come back to this story to bully Walter and Issa for backup key pages and testing units. And testing units. Walter himself isn't too impressive if I'm being honest with you. It's the people he knows that are becoming a problem with me. The stray dogs were a bump in the road, and new key pages with repose to me. The carnival gave me the one sanguine power in this game that I've been searching for, only now I have to go full chump in order to get the benefits instead of just taking a little drink. Full Stop is now on every single one of our floors because they provided us with ranged units. That's correct. You are hearing that right. I harvested a singular office for force multipliers. However, they might have outlived their usefulness now against the Dawn Association is a team of super proficient fixers, all of them being grade 5 or above, and each having handled multiple cases up to an urban legend. Yuna specifically having come back from a rather gruesome urban plague herself. Salvador is our connective thread for those asking why we're in Yuppieville, by the way. Walter is his old buddy. So hearing that he's now past tense and that this is why I need to delegate, he sees it as a learning opportunity and a payday. For Philip, the only person in this room who hasn't taken on a plague by now. So what better time than now for him to learn the ropes on taking one on? Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, these guys are not to be messed with. All of them are dealing fire damage and Salvador gains buffs against burning targets. So I get sliced, diced, and fried with the books in my possession. Which means I gotta go hunting for something spicier. Those Bremen musicians sounded like they'd be interesting to deal with, or at least that they had this coming. Little did I know how much of an understatement that was. These guys were ritualistic cult mercs who were present during the appearance of the pianist. Enthralled by the horrific show, they want to learn how to make music, just like it. Hence why they've been hanging exsanguine bodies all over town with various levels of unneeded suffering and body defacement. You get the point. These guys suck major dong, not just because they hurt innocent people, but I can't talk about them without making a demonetized joke. Mostly because they just do this for the funsies, though. I'm literally cleaning some crap off the street by taking these weirdos down, is what I thought I'd be saying here, but I get scratched by Meow, trampled by Oink, and kicked by Moo various times, each one surviving by just the bare and scorched skin of their paws or hooves. So while they're free to repeat that day, I have their books to mess around with. Not much in comparison to the better stuff out there, but for what I need, it handles the job, especially when combined with other pages I found just while out and about. We got cooked again. So I figured it was time Halen got a better page. Hence, I gave her a full stop page, and made sure to hand her a leeway, and fill out her pages to be ranged and melee. The only thing I didn't do was change her appearance, and she still looked like a Zwei enforcer. Meaning she technically doesn't have a gun, combine some abilities into her, and then I set off with the team to investigate a strange field of roses. The team was merely being careful to examine it and how it worked, yet apparently that approach was exactly what was needed to take it down, as Nets in the gang nipped that bud first try. And after a heart-to-heart with Nets, I slid out of there when things got super heavy and went to go see what the literature club was up to. I ended up seeing Spoolie had made her way into the library, so of course she bolted the moment she saw me. But I know where one Spoolie is. There's tons more other spiders where they shouldn't be. Just hold it up. That's fine. Probably could have paid attention to this. With that infestation taken care of, Hod and the other librarians of this floor had taken my literature club jokes so literally that they now have a real book club here, where they read and discuss the books on the shelves. You know, the people we've been collecting. Oh, man. I just lost karma. Some unfriendly Farness Abno pages in the books, and it's back into dawn. Cooked. Alright, Nets, you're up. Wait, alright, Nets, you're up. Hang on. With Halen still rocking the Zwei fit, and hence not having any gun stances, she was able to literally give looks that could kill. Hopefully this meme power I found is enough to put a dent in the Dawn offices. Wow. Okay. He gets away, of course. I'm not gonna lie, I kinda saw that one coming. staying with us. 'Twas indeed. Salvador and Yuna now adorn my shelves, but Philip was able to escape us with his semi-redeemable tail still tucked. He dipped out to another office all while I was greeting Tifrith to a waking world. You know, while Roland dodged her swings since he was pissing her off. After reawakening back in the library, I did some organization for way too long, got bored, and decided I needed to get back to work, so I picked an invite we hadn't sent yet, and felt rather dumb when I realized I was in for a long delivery. Without skipping a beat, I had fallen into the warp train, whose story was only now getting into full swing. Interested in hearing all the gore-filled details? Well, you can refer to this stream, it's the first thing I do, or you could go support Frey Checkham's vid on Bubtown. That video is the reason for me being here. It's the reason why I'm on this train right now. This is your fault, Frey. I love your content, make more videos. Anyways, it's harrowing to hear about the things that happen in this little pocket dimension TBH. But what's even more disturbing is how the story is handled by the game. For one thing, Frey beautifully carved each and every voiced sound bit from that video into my head, as words on the screen now have references to outside media for how a man literally talking out of the hole in the side of his neck would probably sound. So all my reactions and unearthed sounds can be witnessed in my VOD. Time frames were of course getting existentially terrifying to see projected onto my silver screen, but the worst part about that whole thing is almost right after that, and the commentary of how unfortunate the situation is. You're quickly reminded of why you're seeing all of this, because only after all the bodily mutilation has been put into full swing and action does the damned invite show up, meaning you're not taking out real monsters. You're not handling fixers. Hell, these guys are barely even adult humans anymore. I had to send my librarians out to basically cull flesh mobs that were basically thinking they were just invited here. They think they're explorers. They even politely introduce themselves and ask for directions on where to go. These guys had no idea what they were getting themselves into, and even when it happens, it's the inverse of the Bremen musicians. I was practically shown every reason I should lay down my arms, go to the smash lanes, get a gust bellows, and literally sweep these innocent victims mashed with other victims the fuck out of my place of torment and observation. These guys were a Task Force X under the guise of retrieving people that their mother only met for like a fucking scene. Seriously, how do you even know who Dalek and Alec are? Olga said, this hangover is killing me. Mika, Rain, fuck this train. Let's go beat books instead. So they're practically giving you a high and buy. This woman basically fed her symbiotic titans to the meat grinder, and I demand to know why. As you can figure, I was rather downcast from that bit of gaming.
So I just lost one.
Wow, 2-in-1 video. Actually, now that I say that out loud, I'm pretty sure that's bad. Wait, didn't I do that last video too? Fuck! So Phil, with his still redeemable tail, does the one thing that I dislike about him and follows Salvador's last words. He goes to the Wedge office, where the fixers have a blood or pierce style fixation. Also Gothica. Yeah, those two are literal spear-wielding children. This man has had to watch his office go down, and two of the people that his higher-ups told him to rely on are not even old enough to be mistaken for adults. Their mindsets reflecting that yes, they are in fact children. They aren't like really old people that are meant to look forever young. This Bloodborne here, this man rolls into battle with two literal children at his side. Two kids that have both died before and been brought back in the city's version of the Borderlands New You service. They even get into a dumb argument that almost turns into a spear spat within 3 sentences. I got bodied by those weirdos for a long time before I could even get close enough through Bloodborne's health bar to end the fight. And then the fucker ran again.
Everyone, boo this nigga!
Though before I can be petty and pissy about it, he stops at the door. At first putting himself down for being a good little coward to a near unforgivable degree. Having been told by his office to dip them for dead, and then being told the exact same thing by a little grade schooler and not even batting a fucking eye. All he's ever done is exactly what he was told. but I've been good. I followed orders. He could tell people to try and help himself sleep at night. But he knows that this is a cycle of self-loathing that he can't bear to live with. Not here. Not now. Not ever. Just as I'm finally getting back to the tech floor on my field medic type beat, Phil bursts back onto the scene and mocks me out Kingdom Hearts style. His arms and shoulders being adorned with a blazing wing and a sword that would make Joe Cat screech with uncontrolled wiggly pride. This guy, this man, has unlocked one of the newest and bougiest forms of the sword and shield. He's literally become a one-winged angel. So Cephalop absolutely boils the tech team scene 2. So now we have to get back through the spear people again. Okay, well. Yeah. Wow. Stagger. Yeah. Out. On the shelf. Stay right there. Don't move. Please get stabbed. Okay. Wow. Finally, we got through a fight against somebody with the ability to harness an ego. I mean, there's a toss-up as to whether this thing was, like, wearing him, but honestly, it'll be insane to have a book this strong in my... Obtain 2 copies of the Combat Village Feather Shield. Are you New York with me right now, bitch?